Hey, welcome back to Confidence in Christ with Kayla. Today we are hanging out in Psalms chapter 127, verse 1, and it says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain." Now, we aren't necessarily building cities or houses, but we do a lot of things, and sometimes they are in vain, because if I'm not doing and you're not doing things with the Lord, nothing's really going to succeed. We need God's blessing, and we need to be obedient to what God has called us to. I know for a fact that you and I have both done things that God didn't call us to do. It's just part of human nature. We are not prone to obedience. It is something we have to make our mind do. We have to take our thoughts captive and make them obedient to Christ. And that's not a natural thing. That is something we have to work hard at and teach ourselves to do. So this is nothing bad against you. I am just as guilty. And it's just every single one of us are. And what I love is that right here, God tells us, hey, unless the Lord builds it, it's in vain. So if you're going for that big new job and you're doing things that God's not called you to do, you're doing them in vain. Or if you are trying to start a business that is not what God has called you to do, you're doing that in vain. Checking with God before we ever take a step is kind of a silly thought to most people, but to those of us who know Christ and know that He didn't ask us to agree with Him, He asked us for obedience, that is a must. It's not an option for us. I recently had to make a decision to not go on a business trip. And people keep asking me flat out, like, why aren't you going? And I tell them, because God told me not to. And they look at me like I'm insane. They're like, but this is good for your business. It's going to grow it. It's going to help you do more things. And like, why wouldn't you go? Like, you're not going to get hurt. Nothing's going to happen. I'm like, but God told me not to. And because He said that, I'm going to obey. As crazy as it sounds, and as much FOMO as I might have, I am not going to go because God told me not to. And not listening would be blatant disobedience to God. It wasn't a conference call for everybody to hear. It was a direct message of obedience that He put in my heart. And I just have to get used to the fact that not everybody's going to get it. And that might hurt, and I might lose friends over that. But I am okay with that, because if it means obedience to Christ, then I am doing everything that my heart truly desires. So if you are listening to Christ, or if you're on the fence about, well, if I do that, then people are going to think I'm weird, or they're going to question me, you know what? Let them question you. Let them wonder. Let them unfriend you. Because if they are making you choose them over obedience to Christ, they really aren't your friends anyway. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But we can have so much confidence in Christ and just that closeness to Him that, you know what? True fulfillment comes in Him anyway. So why not stay on His side? Anything we do, just like this verse says, not through Christ and not with His blessing, is in vain anyway. And everybody's going to stand before Him one day. And they're going to have to answer for every little thing that they did, you and me included. So today, confidently make decisions based on what God tells you. And if you're not sure, ask Him again. He will answer. Open your eyes, open your ears, open your heart, and listen for those words that you have been longing to hear, to know if and when to move.